Hello, everybody, and welcome to day 6 in this quest for 2000. So, let's play another 15-minute game and see what happens today. All right. Black again. I think I had black. This is the 5th time out of 6 games. All right, so let's see. E4 will respond with E5 and then knight to C6 and see what they do here. Will they play a Ruy Lopez, a Scotch game, or a Italian game? So an Italian game. So we'll go for the Giuoco piano. And now will we see another Evans Gambit like in one of the previous games? Okay, so we're in for a quieter game here. So I'll go ahead and do that. All right, so they want to pin this. I guess I could immediately go ahead and force them to make a decision here. But they could just back up and keep this pin, which is probably what they'll do. Oh, okay, that surprised me. All right, that helped us develop our queen. So I don't know. I would say overall that probably benefited us. Okay. So now I should probably go ahead and castle as well. I'm going to go ahead and do that. Now I have to watch out if he jumps a knight up here. Okay, so he's going to go for the attack in the center. Let us... Guess we'll go here. All right, so now we can just back this bishop up. So we'll just do that. See what they decide to do. All right, so they are just going to keep pressing forward here. Well, guess I'll just go there, fortify the center, and see what they decide to do here. All right, so now I could attack their bishop here, which is probably what I'll do. Well, okay, so they decide to press forward here. All right. So I guess I have to do that. Now, will they capture with their bishop or with their pawn? Probably, it's best to capture towards the center with the pawn, get rid of this isolated pawn. And then, of course, I would have to, probably go here. Oh, okay. Well, that was a little surprising. Huh. Interesting, interesting. Well, what is their rating? 1483. Okay. Well, what should we try to do here? We could just move this knight up here, but it would be on the edge of the board, and that's usually not good. Should I move this knight? Probably towards the center would be better. Or do I just, develop my bishop here? Maybe I do that. Or do I just stop this? So I'm trying to decide whether to just jump my knight up here, push this pawn forward, and kind of blockade this isolated pawn. Then I could push this to here. All right. Maybe I'll do that. I don't know. Let's see. This knight on the edge is not really the best thing. I could just ignore that. All right. Well, let's go ahead and do this. We'll just pin that knight. All right. So now, All right, I guess I'm going to go ahead and do this. And now I can attack, depending on what he does with that bishop. I could jump up here, attack his bishop. But the problem is if I push this C pawn, then this B pawn is going to be backward. I probably need this up here, but now this bishop could be blocked in. So, I don't know. It's going to come down to this pawn over here. Okay, so he decides to attack me. What should I do here? Do I march back? Or do I just stay in the center here? Maybe that is better. Or should I capture that knight? So that is the decision to make here. I guess I could knock that out, see what he does. He'll probably capture with his knight, unless, okay, so he does that. We'll go here, trapping his bishop. His bishop will have to go back here, and then we can capture it with the knight. Okay, so now can march this up to here to stop his pawns, protect our pawn in the center. Then we can start piling up on this side. All right, we'll go ahead and do that. Now our rooks can pile up on this half-open file. Maybe put a rook here, then pile up with another one. Then if we can get the queen over there involved. And I could put the queen here, go after this pawn. So he's got 1, 2, 3 pawn islands, and we only have 1 pawn island. All our pawns are side by side, where his pawns are okay here, but these doubled pawns and this isolated pawn, and our bishop's doing a good job of protecting everything. So, next it would probably be good to just start piling up here. Okay. Well, is he going to try and jump in here? All right, let's line up here, try and get this. All right, so I'll just go there, attacking this pawn. All right, and this bishop's also pinning this pawn on f2, so yeah, that bishop is causing all kinds of problems. It's holding everything together. Man, if he gets that knight in there, well, I should have time to bring my other rook over here and put pressure over here. And my queen is threatening to just jump up here. Let's see, if my queen captures this pawn and then he tries to sacrifice over here on h6 with his knight and I recapture, then his queen tries to jump in there. All right. So now he's protecting that. What can we do here? What can we do? Let's see. Well, we might as well go after this other pawn. I guess we could try that. Just go after that over here. All right, so I don't know. I think we have a good position here. I don't know if I like that queen lined up on my king, though. All right, so he protects. What can we do here? What can we do? If we jump back here, let's see, put more pressure on that. Should we try and open the center more? No. There has to be a way to put pressure on here. Well, let's try that and see what he does. So now if his knight jumps into here, we could give up this bishop for the knight. The pawn would recapture. Our queen would capture with check. But then what do we do? Do we have any kind of follow-up? We just get a pawn out of it. So I don't know. All right. Do we attack this knight? Maybe we could. Okay, so he goes back that way. Interesting. All right. All right. Well, he wants to reposition here, probably to knight to f3 and attack us. How can we take advantage and break through here? All right. Well, I guess we just march in here and then put our queen in there to help. We could set up the, what is it called? The Alekine's gun, where we triple up, put our two rooks in front and the queen behind. All right, what would be best to do here? Well, do we ignore that? Nah. I think we'll go here. If he captures, we'll capture. Then he'll have another isolated pawn. But he could just push forward here. And then what is best? All right. Okay, so he does push forward. All right, so I would say maybe just ignore him. Do we push a pawn forward? Or just ignore him? All right. Okay, we have to watch out. If he captures, we capture, his rook could come up here if I move my queen over to here. And then if he attacks, I could just chase him away. He could bring his other rook over. All right, let's go for it. So we'll counterattack over here. Okay, so he decides to do that. So we have to capture. Now I'm wondering if that was a mistake or not. Because now his knight could jump in here and come down to here. He could just immediately attack with his rook. I don't know. I might have made the game trickier than it had to be. So I gave him counterplay over here. I probably should have found a way to lock that down more. All right. All right, let's see what he does here. So if he checks me, I'll give up my queen for 2 rooks, and then just hope that my king is safe enough, where I don't have problems. And then I also have this threat of bringing a rook up here. If he moves his rook off the back rank, I'll be able to check his king, and his knight will have to move in here. To block, and I'll win the knight. Okay, so now he's threatening over there. Let's do that. All right. Oh, it's getting tricky here. Very tricky. Okay, what will my opponent do? All right. And for anybody watching that hasn't subscribed yet, feel free to go ahead, like and subscribe. All right, let's get rid of that. And then, what now? What now? We could attack that rook, try and drive it away. I think that's probably best. We'll just attack the rook and it'll have to retreat. Oh, and now is it trapped? Yeah, now I think his rook is trapped. Yep, now he just has a trapped rook. Well, we should be winning now, but I better hold my horses because the last game from The previous game I played, I was losing, then I was winning, and then I messed up and it was a draw. So right now his rook is trapped. So, he should probably, if he's got to give up the rook, I would assume the best thing to do would be to just capture this pawn. My king could capture. He could check me, and my queen could move in to block, and I think I'd be all right. All right. Maybe they're going to resign now. I don't know. They're really taking a long time to think about this. But yeah, now that rook is just trapped in there. And I don't see what they can do. Is there anything crazy that I overlooked? I don't know. I would say the best move would be maybe to just capture this G pawn, and hope that my king's a little open, but then he's just down, a whole rook. Okay, so he does do that. So we'll just capture. Oh, yeah, so I should he's going to check me here, though. Oh, he decides not to do that. Okay. Well. Oh, I might have a crazy other option here. We'll do that. Then check him here. Then we can pick off his knight. Then do that. And block. Now he's really in trouble. Yeah, so he resigned. All right, well, interesting game. So let's do a quick blast through the game review that the computer kind of zips through the moves usually, but then I'll do an analysis afterwards and try and go more in detail. So let's take a look at this game review. Let's see, it's winding up here. Going through. Oh, okay. So it looks like we both could have done better in that game. In the 70s is not too bad, I guess. Usually the better games are when it's in the 80s or close to 90. But yeah, 77.7 versus 72. So we didn't have any blunders. I had one miss and they had two misses, and then 3 mistakes for me, 4 for them. Oh, but I had 9 inaccuracies and they had 7. All right. So it says giveaway, nice comeback win. Oh man, it looks like I did something wrong here. Overlooked. Man, so they were ahead in the end there. We'll definitely have to check that out. Okay, we'll start the review. So it was the Italian game, the Giuoco Piano game in the Italian. So let's see. They played an interesting strategy, pushing those pawns over there on the queen side. Okay, so here it says that G6 was a mistake. Okay, yeah, I kind of thought maybe I should have captured that pawn, because then the pawn was able to push forward and cause some problems over here. So G6 took the game down to where I was only slightly ahead. It was almost equal after that. I should have just captured that pawn. And then if I would have captured it, I would still have this, my pawns in front of my king. I would have a path to this isolated e pawn, perhaps. All right, so now I move back here, and it says that is a mistake, and now the game is in white's favor by about a pawn. This move hurts my chances. I should have brought this rook up here back down. I should have left the queen there and then brought my rook back down here. All right, and then this was a mistake. So king to g7 was a miss. I missed an opportunity to capture a valuable pawn. So I should have just captured over here. But then the rook would have attacked me. But I guess the rook would have captured this pawn. But I guess he wouldn't have much of a follow-up then, I don't think. Let's see. I could attack him. Anyway, we'll go into that in the analysis. So this was a mistake. Oh man, I ignored an opportunity to eventually win material. Definitely have to check this out in the analysis. So it's saying I should have moved here and attacked that rook immediately. All right, so it says this is a great move. Next move, they capture. So they made a great, or actually this is another great move because their rook was just trapped. All right, and then we just end it there. So it looks like my opponent only played at a 1400 level. I mean, which, 1400 is not bad, but we're trying to get up to 2000. So I definitely got to play, try to play at a higher level if I'm going to reach 2000. So I played at 1600. For the opening, they had 96.7. I had 98.5. 60.4 in the middle game, and I had 70.4. So, all right, let's take a look and see in the analysis what we did right and wrong. All right, so e4, e5, and they attack. We defend the pawn. They play bishop to c4, the Italian game, which eyes this f7 pawn. And so we just move forward here and just develop our bishop. So right now they can't move that knight up here yet because the pawn is blocking, or excuse me, the pawn is blocking the bishop. Once they move that pawn, then the knight will possibly threaten to jump forward. Right now my queen could capture that knight if it tries to move forward and put pressure on here. So we need to hurry up. Now they've developed that pawn and there's a threat of moving the knight forward. So we have to go ahead and develop our knight. Now if the knight tries to jump down here, we can go ahead and just castle. And so they pin our knight. We attack, and it says that is a book move still. So they capture, we capture, which is best to capture with the queen. So they probably should not have given up their bishop pair like that. And it would have been better to just retreat back and keep pressure on that knight, keep it pinned to the queen. So moving on, they castle, which is best. We castle, also the best move. And they push here with c3. And it says that's a good move, but better would have been knight to c3. But this move here allows either the b pawn to push forward and now it's protected, or later you can push the d pawn and it'll be backed up and you can try and just push up the center here and attack. So I played this move, and let's see if I can. Oh, okay. I played this. That way I could just retreat my bishop back and have an escape hatch. And, then I would be able to keep the pressure by lining this bishop up here on the F pawn and pinning that F pawn to the king. So they go ahead and attack here, and it says that is the best move. So I retreat, and this is also the best move. And now it says knight to a3 would have been better. So to develop that knight there, and then, where would you take the knight from there? Perhaps reposition it here and help fight for the center. So I just develop, but it looks like knight to e7 would have been better. Just repositioning this knight, unblocking the c pawn, because then I could move that c pawn up and help fight in the center here. So they push forward, attacking. I go ahead and capture. They capture with the bishop, and so that surprised me. Let's go back here and take a look at this. So once they play b5, it says that's an excellent move, but they still want this knight developed now here to d2. But after they push, it says that I should not have captured. I should have moved my knight out instead. But I figured if I captured, well, I didn't expect them to capture with the bishop. I thought they would capture here. Yeah, I see where it is better to move this knight over here. Because then if they capture and I capture, well, let's take a look at that, because then I guess it would be all right. If they capture and I captured, the bishop would be covering this. And then maybe my bishop could jump up in here and have a line towards the king side. But anyway, moving on. Capture. Then I was surprised that they capture with the bishop, and it says that is a mistake. That capturing with the pawn is better because it would have chased my knight away back down here. And then I played bishop to g4, and it says that is an inaccuracy. Once again, it wants me to move this knight. And now here's why it wanted that knight to be moved, because the best move by white would have been to just capture, double up my pawns, and then have a passed pawn here that could march up the a file. So I decided to avoid that so he can't capture my knight and double the pawns, and I blockade this passed pawn. Well, it's not passed yet because I still have the b pawn there to stop it. Putting the question to my bishop, should I retreat or should I trade it? Here I decide to trade. So the knight recaptures, and let's take a look at that. So it says that attacking that bishop wasn't the best move. Knight to c4 would have been better. Which that makes sense, because then it gets rid of this blockader of that pawn. And so I capture, and that wasn't the best move. It would have been better to retreat and keep the bishop pair. So capture, and now it's saying a queen capture would have been better. So queen captures, then I should capture, then the knight would capture, and the queens would be off the board. Okay, so I attack, they retreat, now I capture, doubling his pawns. And then I move my bishop here. But it did not like that move. It wanted me to move the queen over here to e6 and attack this pawn. All right, queen to e6. But then, I don't know, I wanted to get this bishop up here. That way I would be able to push this pawn, this weak backwards pawn up, and my bishop would be, in a good spot here. So I don't know, what does it say? it was an inaccuracy, but black is still ahead there. So he goes ahead and attacks, but now I can just push this forward and it's protected by the bishop. And it says that's good, but better would have been to put my rook there. Okay. And now the knight just retreats back to here. Better would have been to move here in the center, because remember the knight on the rim is dim. So rook up to a5, blockading this pawn and getting ready to pile up here. But instead it wants my queen to immediately go here and attack this pawn. All right, so I'm under attack. Now I finally move, but now it's saying I should have gone here instead. All right. Well, okay. So the queen moves to b3. I guess coming over here to protect this pawn on c4. And now it says that knight to e3 would have been better. But I don't know if that move happened. I could capture with the bishop, pawn recaptures, and then my queen would have captured this pawn. So here I play the best move, doubling the rooks up on the half open file. They protect, which is a good move, but once again it wants this move. All right, well, now I move here, and instead, very interesting, it wants me to push this pawn. So let's take a look at that. At this point, oh man, at this point, black is pretty much winning. Let's make sure of that. So rook to a1 is good, but knight to e3 would have been better. Either way, white is ahead by about 3, or sorry, black is ahead by 3. Okay, so moving forward, we move here, and it says that's an inaccuracy. It would have been better to just push the pawns, but we're still ahead by 2.5. So the queen retreats, and that's best to cover this pawn. Now we move here, and that's a mistake. Once again, it wants us to push forward here. Okay, so the king moves, we attack the knight retreats. Now we go here, and it says queen to f4 would have been better. Now that pawn is able to push forward and cause problems. So here we should have captured, but we didn't. We make this mistake, and capturing the pawn would have been better. So they push forward, and so this is a great move. It starts causing problems down here and breaks open my king side a little bit. Okay, so then I make this move, and now white is ahead here by about a pawn's worth of material. Okay, it says I should have just brought my rook back down here, to be able to maneuver it over. So capture, rook attacks, and it says that's a mistake. That queen to d2 would have been better. Because then the queen could have been able to move to d2 and then try and jump in over here on my king side and cause problems. But my opponent didn't see that. That would have kept the game about even. So I jump up here, and now capturing this pawn immediately would have been better. But I was afraid of counterplay, him capturing this pawn, checking my king. So he doubles up, and With that move, black is ahead a little bit. So we capture, and now this is a mistake. And this is a game losing mistake. And instead, I should have played queen to e7, it looks like. So queen to e7. And then, let's see here. After queen to d2 or c1, it looks like the computer wants white to put his queen on this diagonal where he can jump down here in front of my king and just add more pressure. So, if we go back, so I moved the queen, or excuse me, they moved the rook. Then my queen, or excuse me, my rook captures, and this was a game-losing mistake, but they missed what they should have done. They should have played queen to d2, and they would have been ahead by +3.5, or +3. And this is a miss. Now black is ahead. So, let's see. Let's take a look at, well, we'll just play it out here. So rook to a1 is what I played, and it says that is best. Putting pressure on the king, pinning this rook. So now this is an inaccuracy. Rook to f3 would have been better. It would have been better to just retreat the rook back. So now we capture, and it says that's a great move. They capture with the knight, and it looks like capturing with the queen would have been better. Let's see, because now we're able to trap this rook. The rook cannot retreat. If the rook stays there, we just capture it, and then we're attacking the queen. So they play the best move, just capture there. We capture, which is best, of course. And they bring the knight down. But queen to f5 check would have been better, and that's what I thought he was going to do. So let's take a look at that. Queen to f5 check. And then, what could I do here? Well, then I guess I'm fine to just move over here. So it says this is the best move. King to h6. And then moving the king forward is best here. But then that gives me time to start counterattacking. And then I have this threat up here of trying to pin. All right. Well, let's finish this out. I won't dig too much deeper because this video will end up being hours, and the light it's getting darker in here. All right, rook to a1, check. The king tries to retreat, but that gives us bishop check, which is the best move, forcing the king back up to here. And now black is really winning because we have a discovered check by moving here, and it says that that is not even the best move there. Interesting. So it's saying instead I should have retreated all the way back to here. We'll take a look at that. So it wanted me to retreat to here, and then of course the king would have to move. Either that or the knight would try to block. But it says this is the best move. And then, is it the computer's doing strange things again? It's saying now to just go back there. And, if I keep doing that, it'll be a repetition of moves. So now it's saying bishop to c5, check. All right, anyway, that's enough of that. So we did bishop to f2, check. The king has to move. Well, now we can just trade off that knight and get rid of this threat of the queen capturing with check and harassing us. So we capture. The queen captures with check, but now our queen can block, which is the best move, and the opponent resigned here because we're just up a rook, and for pawns we have 5. We're even on pawns, but with that extra rook, that would be winning. The game may have continued with c5, capture. Then this, if the computer did that, well, either way, if we go back, yeah, instead of that, let's see, queen to g5. If my opponent played that, well, yeah, then I would probably have to, well, I wouldn't even have to capture. I could just even move the queen here now, and, oh no, I guess I can't move the queen because it's pinned to my king. All right. I could just capture right now. So I don't even, just capture. Why even worry about this pawn now? Get rid of the queens. And anyway, computer says this would have happened. Yeah, and what black is winning there. All right, well, if you stuck around the whole time, I thank you. It's starting to get dark, so I'm going to end this video and get some lights on. Thank you, everybody, for following me on this journey, this quest for a 2,000 rating on chess.com. If you haven't liked or subscribed yet, please go ahead and support the channel. Also, feel free at any time to leave comments or suggestions, also requests, and if I get enough requests and I have time, I'll try and do videos on other things you want to see. So thank you, everybody, and have a super chess day.